Hey everyone, today for another vlog. Today I want to talk about more doing, less talking, less thinking. So it's kind of ironic that it's a vlog about that, but yeah. So what prompted this was just a few experiences, which and recently reading a tweet from Visa about how which really got me thinking about how he never really regretted doing anything even making mistakes, but regret for him always was about not doing something he wanted, right? So, and when I think about it, I definitely feel that, like I find it very easy for me to forgive myself when something didn't go as well as I imagined, but still giving it a try, So I never really have trouble getting over that. For me, it's more the problem I have is more like yeah, really the paralysis. That's what I really regret so often. It's like, being afraid to do something and not doing it, or just procrastinating on something and so on. Those are the really painful things in life. It's when you don't do something instead of doing something badly. Like, the latter doesn't really seem to bother me, I think, when I think deeply about it, right? Because every mistake is an opportunity for something slightly better afterwards, right? Whereas the thing about paralysis is that it doesn't really lead to anything on the other hand. So, mistakes lead to more informed decisions. But on the other hand, paralysis kind of leads to more paralysis often until it sort of becomes like a pain point that is no longer bearable, and then you decide to act. So I think a big imbalance in my life is simply not doing enough of the things could take me to where I want to go, and not doing enough of the things that I could enjoy and so on. But yeah, it's it's one of those things that cannot be solved with thinking, obviously. But like it's more of a it's vastly more emotional, right? So fear being one of them, confusion being another emotion that I never really imagined that confusion would be one of my bigger enemies in life, but I think it's been a huge one because especially in phase of transition, such as leaving university, well, graduating from university to be more precise. Yeah, just a lot of confusion about my life path and about whether all of what I've been up to now has been really what I wanted, and in many ways it hasn't been. But at the same time, you know, it's like I feel like the main way of resolving confusion really is doing at the same time, but like uh, it's like introspection is obviously important, but I feel like it can runs into a wall where you kind of start thinking way too much about just basic shit. Like it's like 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 everyone knows that exercising and having a consistent sleep schedule and all that, those are really, really important for health and for well-being. And yet, how many people actually do those things? So like, you can introspect as much as you want about why you're not doing those things, but like at some point you kind of have to just try things, or like you can have to try things and see how it goes. And obviously, like if uh trying and trying something many times and it doesn't stick, then there's probably a good reason why, and it's worth introspecting. But at least you're introspecting over failed attempts, and that's something actually tangible. But introspecting about like possibilities and all that, like things that have yet to be happened, to me that's always like kind of a waste of time, really. Like it just leads to overthinking paralysis and all that. Like we cannot really, in my experience, we cannot really predict the future. Like it's just kind of a I think it's a huge trap in life to try to predict the future too closely, or like so like very precise predictions. Obviously, more vague general trend predictions that are definitely possible if you have a good understanding of the given predictions you're making. But precise ones, I think they're kind of a waste of time. So I think the best alternative then is to prepare yourself in regards to the uncertain future. Right? So just yeah, living more resilient lifestyles that could basically resist in the face of difficulties in the future. and those require mostly doing, right? It's not like preparing yourself for the future. It's because mostly doing. It's not so much thinking, because as you do things, you get more and more feedback, and that informs your thinking and so on. So it seems to me like it seems to me like the core thing in life really is about doing. And it really seems to me like quantity is actually far more important in many ways than quality. Because you cannot achieve quality without quantity when it comes to work and basically anything, right? So how do you become good at conversations? How do you become good at drawing? How do you become good at chess? How do you become good at music? Like you need to spend a lot of time, and it's so obvious to say it, but like it's really very different to like live according to this principle, right? Which is to be very very deliberate with your time and to use it on the things that you find important and such. And I feel like that's kind of been a huge missing pillar in my life. It's this simple ability to do something a lot, right? And obviously, again, with the exercise example, if I try to do the thing and I realize it's more difficult to be consistent than I imagined, then obviously there will be a reason to introspect, right? So there are many reasons why people don't do things as much as they would want. Emotional problems, or like it's just not enjoyable, or like they're trying to do way too much at a time, or their expectations are unrealistic, and so on. Like there are many, many reasons, but those reasons only matter if you actually try at least to do the thing. And yeah, I feel like obviously, I think I'm kind of starting to run into a cycle with this vlog, because at some point you just have to do things, and there's not really anything magical to say. It's kind of like it's kind of like when you're in bed. Like sometimes I just get this when I'm about to get up. Like I just have this sense of like I could just get up immediately if I want to, and sometimes I do that, and sometimes I don't. Right? So like it's actually far easier to in many ways. It's actually far easier to just get up immediately. It's like this jumping right into the water type of deal, rather than just slowly feel it and feel the coldness. Jumping right into the water can be dangerous on the other hand, so maybe it's not a good analogy, but like like this the way in which doing something immediately right off the bat, even if it might be a bit uncomfortable, is actually can actually be much nicer actually than to just procrastinate and so on. Like it's kind of interesting how those work. And so yeah, I guess the way people call that is like doing without flinching, right? So just doing the thing, and you just don't flinch. You don't hesitate. You just do it, and it's not so much about the quality or like trying to get anything. It's more like simply about the doing and being good at starting things, especially. That's really like the main thing, really, in many habits. It's like the first 2 minutes are like, even like the first 1 minute, honestly, is the biggest determining factor for whether you do it or not. It's like if you get to that minute or not. And yeah, obviously there are many tactics to get someone to get through the thing, and sometimes people might need strategy. So more long-term macro, large-scale ideas and principles to get themselves to do something. Right? So tactics are cool to to solve something like in the short term, but like sometimes even tactics aren't enough. And so in that case, you need strategy and like you need self-understanding and all that. But like sometimes you really don't need that much. Sometimes you just need to just get over yourself and try. This is what I would tell myself, to my younger self, basically. It's like to just like this ability to just do is really key in life. It's kind of funny, and it's the kind of thing that you can only like experience by, ironically, you can only experience it by actually doing, or by not doing and then feeling the pain of that, right? So it's one of those things that is not really conveyed well with words, I would say. The importance of doing things. It's like only an overthinker can overthink about overthinking. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like only overthinkers think about overthinking. The people who don't overthink, they just do things, and that's it. Yeah. I don't really want to keep talking. I mean, obviously, because I tend to overthink and overtalk. So I think I'm just gonna end this video. So this vlog rather, because it's not really a video component anymore. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.